This is my good friend Allison, Billy. And I'm very excited about what he brought in today because these are the first handspun that you brought me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then, so is this the first group of handspun weavings that you've done?
Pretty much, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, just tell me a little bit about who was teaching you, because you were saying...
The handspun stuff, I'm barely learning because it's a little hard for me. I know how to card, but the spinning, I don't know if I'm just too strong for it because, you know, when it comes to a certain area, it just breaks from me, and then I just don't get into it. But my grandma and my mom's teaching me right now, so pretty much basically it.
Yeah, and so his grandma's Gladys Yellowman, and then his mom is Clara Yellowman.
Yeah.
So, and his grandma knows all kinds of really interesting herbal cures and remedies. She's a great herbalist, and so fortunately some of those things are being passed down. And you were just talking about what was being used as far as creating some of the different colors.
Yeah. The yellow part here is made out of, I don't know what you call it, but we call it wild jelly. If we're gonna, we only understand it as wild jelly because we use that plant to, you know, make jelly out of it and eat it during the summertime, wintertime. But it's like a kind of celery stick kind of bush.
So it's actually the stalk?
Yeah, it's the stalk, but it's the roots.
Oh, that you use for the dye.
We're using the roots for the dye.
Okay.
So the darker yellow is left there for like pretty much over an hour. The lighter yellow is pretty much just like 10-15 minutes. So.
Yeah, so it's really neat how you get the different tones just from the one plant, and then this is basically from your grandma.
Yeah, the sheep.
Yeah.
The yellow too. This yellow is pretty much left out in the sun.
Oh, so this one was dyed,
yeah.
and then you let it bleach out? Oh, that's nice. You know, because I wasn't sure if that was just a combination
of... If you can tell, it's a little white, little, but left out in the sun. Pretty much, and the rest is just all from the sheep.
So this one you'll spin, and then will you just leave it stretched out there? So, and then it was kind of neat that you're showing me, because this little rug that Allison wove after this one, but what was neat here too is that he still took some of those hand spun yarns and then just spun them even tighter, so that these threads in here are even smaller than the ones in this weaving.
It's the same thread, but I took this thread and broke off a little piece, but would undo the spinning and stretch it a little and make, you know, use my own hand to spin it back, and then used it to weave that one. So that's why it's a little tighter on that side.
So what made you decide that you wanted to pursue this with the handspun?
The handspun, it was building up on me. I was making it, and it was just building up on me, and my grandma was giving me some, so I figured, you know what, let's just go with the handspun weaving for this one. And it did pretty, I think it looks really nice. I liked it. So
I like it because I think there's a couple of things that you combined in the weaving, because you know you have the storm pattern, but then you also sort of have the red mesa influence in it, and then even this sort of the stair step, you know, ideas that you kind of see in this area. So I like that you brought in these different styles in the combination, and it all works, you know, that kind of layering those on top of each other.
See, with me it's more like I like color, and I like, when I weave, I get bored with a certain design if I'm going to just go, but I can't, you know, it just gets boring for me, so I start going differently,
Mm-hmm.
putting more color in, putting different designs in it. So.
And even that you offset the color
Uh-huh.
here, you know, that I like
Yeah.
that you did the red
So-
here, but then did the darker brown here, and I like that too.
Yeah, so just like the brown, and then I was going with the gray, so I got a little bored, and I said, let's go start with the natural wool stuff.
Yeah.
So I broke off the gray and used the natural gray in there,
Mm-hmm.
in that area. So.
Yeah, and again, I like the way that works. There's
Mhm.
just a lot of interesting fields that are in the weaving, and the same thing.
The same thing with that one, yeah.
It's when we go to define them. I think that's part of what I like in your weavings is that you're not necessarily saying, well, this is a storm or it's a red mesa or it's this. It's really just coming out of your own idea
Yeah.
of what your weaving's going to be, and I know that's combined partly with all the designs that you saw coming in from your family, you know, but then it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, were any of these, were there particular elements that you were picking up from some of the old designs that you saw?
There's a really, really old book that I have about rug weaving. I saw this design here in a storm pattern. It's a really, really tiny, I should have brought the book, but it's a really tiny design that's just like, it's just a border thing. But I figured maybe if we combine it and make it in a middle. So this here also was in a different book. I've seen it in a Tucson Spons or something like that, but it was this gray and black color, but I figured put some color in it and make it really, really nice for center.
Yeah, because it does. It just gives this little bit of vibrancy in the rug. You know?
Yeah, and this I saw too. It's
Didn't you put this in the last one? I think that first one that we had talked to you
yeah,
about.
it's called Daka. In Navajo they call it Daka. It's cards. So.
Oh, like playing cards?
Playing cards.
Oh.
So it's just
Yeah.
more like that area, yeah.
They're laid out.
But this was I saw a rug that had the a frog laying down, but this is their legs.
Oh, right here.
But I figured I couldn't, I was going halfway because I was just going to make the whole frog just sit there. But it didn't come out. I didn't know how to make the head or anything, so I just figured just bring that back this way.
Yeah.
So I broke it off.
So we had.
I broke off. I just made it halfway, and I couldn't do his head or anything else, so I just put that back this way.
We may just have to name it Frog Legs.
Yeah, maybe. But I figured, you know, I picked this out of a storm pattern. I was just gonna make a frog, and you know, the frog's related to the water, and it only comes out when it rains and stuff like that. But I didn't completely finish, so I just brought that one back up that way. So.
Yeah, but see, that's interesting how, you know, in tying that in, and even that whole concept of what happens to you, you know, when you're in the process of working with it, and you've started this idea, but then you're sitting there going, now what do I do?
Oh,
you know?
yeah. It's pretty much like that. I start off and then, but there's a day when my mom would come in and say, oh, it's a little off, or a little, you know, and gets a little annoying, but, you know, and she comes out and straightens things out, and you're like, okay, then it pretty much is, and I'm still learning in the process. I need to go a little tighter to work on little things on my weaving.
No, but I think you're coming along beautifully, you know, because I can think about some of your earlier weaving,
Oh, yeah.
you know, 10 years ago, I guess, yeah, that long, and just look at those versus where you are now, and I think, and where I really see your confidence is that ability to say, well, I'm going to pull this element from here, here. I don't, you know, you don't feel like you have to just weave a certain style, you know. It's a matter of saying, no, I want to see if this will work into the whole design.